Alright, hey guys. I'm back at the drums doing another drum video, I guess. Thought I'd take you through the process of basically doing the drums for a song from start to finish. Well, kind of. I've already kind of started. But I'll show you where we've gotten so far. So here's a song. You know, I could just be screen recording this. It would probably be better, but... So here's a song I have. A temp drums track, which is just like software instrument, and that's where I write the part. I have a bunch of MIDI files here basically, and so then what I do is I painstakingly copy all that into Sibelius to create myself a PDF with the actual music, which I then bring to the drums and I learn. And so right now I'm in the the fun step of just learning the song. So basically I'm just gonna keep practicing it. Pretty soon I'm gonna start doing some like test recordings, basically recording parts of the song, seeing if I'm actually playing it, you know, perfectly in time, you know, seeing what kinds of little nuances I'm gonna have to work in, because like obviously just playing straight to a metronome is great, but that's not always gonna line up perfectly with what the other instruments are doing, you know. Basically just recording things, seeing if I am getting better at the part, basically. And then once I get sufficiently good at the part, then I'll start doing the real drum tracking. So like I said, I'm in the learning phase right now, where I'm learning this part, because it's actually a very hard drum part. So yeah, I'm just going to keep learning it. I guess I'll throw up some practice footage right now of me learning the song, and you can see, you know, how bad I am right now at first, and then compare it to how good the final track will hopefully sound. Meow. Yeah, alright. The audio is going to be really bad because I'm just going to use a camera audio for this, because like I'm not going to... It's just... Sorry. And here's another thing. So what I do for learning the song on the drums is I take what I have in my Reaper project so far, I slap a click track on it, and I lower the software drum volume by a lot, and then I just put that on my iPod, and that's what I'm listening to right now. Alright, so that was the really hard part. That was okay. I started rushing near the end and I missed a bunch of stuff throughout it, but you know, that's how it goes. Still not used to some of these like patterns and like stuff basically, and I hit my hand there. That kind of hurt. There's like a little cut on my hand now. Alright, so I just played through the song once. I did, obviously you're not going to see all that, but I played through the whole song and it was okay. There's some hard stuff with reading the music because, you know, obviously I can't like turn the pages while I'm playing. So what I do have set up here is a keyboard on the ground connected to the laptop, and I have an auto hotkey script set up so when I hit the spacebar with my foot, it scrolls down a couple lines It's not perfect, and like it is still kind of hard to do that while playing, but it makes things doable because, you know, there's a few breaks in the song where I'm able to like manually scroll the pages and stuff, and where I'll probably have cuts in the recording anyway. I'm not gonna do one complete full take for this song for the drum tracking, but there's like a couple extended sections that are like a couple pages long. So I need to be able to actually, you know, turn the page while playing. And maybe by the time I get around to tracking this, I'll have a lot of it memorized anyway, so it'll be easier. All things to figure out when the time comes. I also realize now that I haven't said like what the song is even. And to be frank, I don't have a name for this song yet. You know, when I eventually release whatever album this ends up being, you'll know what song it is then. But yeah, this is just the song that I'm working on right now. And I also just realized that I've done like some recording vlogs back at my university where I recorded in like the university buildings and stuff, and it was very nice. But this is my first time in my home studio in this temporary home that I'm in right now. So this is also going to be a fun chance to just kind of show you how things kind of go in the home studio and how it's really not that much different from how I did it before. Except now I just have drums right outside my bedroom, so I can just hop on anytime I want, which is really nice. So I go. Getting those two kicks, or getting all of those kicks to just even is really difficult for some reason. And it's coming along. I need to practice this ending because it's like a snare thing. I need to work on the accents because I want the accents to not be rim shots. And I'm finding that with these relatively fast 16th notes, whenever I do an accent with my left hand, I end up just doing a rim shot because that's what my left hand's used to doing. It's getting better. How did that happen? Here's another thing. These last few days of practice have been pretty not great because I come home from my 9-hour workday and I have to like hit the drums really hard and it's fucking like 35 degrees outside, so it's you know, it's tough. I'm very sloppy and things aren't really fitting in as I kind of hope they would beat. I'll spend more time practicing on my days off, and so I think it'll all come together in the end. You know, it always does. That's bad. Alright, it's time for a let's talk about something else for a minute break. I'm going to talk about this song for a little bit, just for a little break from the drums. As I said before, the song currently doesn't have a name. I'm not sure what it will be named. It is a song with lyrics, like a song with voice. You know, I'm not worried about titles that much. It'll be called something cool. Probably not, actually. I don't write good titles. But I want to talk about the influences behind the song and kind of how it sounds compared to my first album specifically, because this song is a lot more heavy than basically anything from my previous album. So like on my first album, Red, the main two influences I'd say musically for me were Leprous and Tame Impala. For those of you who know me and know those bands, you can probably hear that. Sally, stop that! You can probably hear that in the music. Like the first track is like straight up like psychedelic rock, Tame Impala kind of thing. Yeah, I like to write music that I enjoy listening to, basically. So it's like not really that surprising that I'm writing music that kind of sounds similar to bands I like, or bands that I'm listening to at the time. Some of the more surprising influences on that album, in my eyes anyway, are Porcupine Tree and Bent Knee. Like specifically the song White Lies, that has a lot of Porcupine Tree influence when I listen to it. Maybe it's just me, and it's like kind of surprising to me because I hadn't really delved into Porcupine Tree that much when I wrote that song. Like I'd listened to a couple albums a couple times, but yeah, that's like a weird thing that I've noticed about that song. And the song How Blue, I think I wrote that song when I was kind of on a bit of a bent knee kick. That's funny. There's definitely some bent knee influence in there. And like the song Red, that's just straight up Leprous. I wrote that song the week after their latest album Pitfalls came out, so like you can probably hear a lot of Pitfalls in that song, from the synth sounds to the drum part to the melodies. I don't know. Anyway, one influence that's kind of missing from that last album is Haken, and those of you who know me know that I'm a huge Haken fan, so it's kind of surprising that I didn't really have any Haken-y kind of songs on that last album. But you know, finally here we are. This song I'd say is pretty Haken inspired, mainly because over the past few months I've been listening to their finally released album Virus, because I have been helping Ray Hearn, their drummer, on the drum book for this, so I was fortunate enough to have early access to the album. So I've been listening to it a lot. You can probably hear some of the influences from this new album on this track specifically. Overall, basically just how heavy it is and stuff like that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to quantify like specific, you know, riffs or something like, well, did I steal that specific note? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But the point is, it's like there's finally some Haken influence in my music. Another thing interesting about this song is kind of how I wrote it and the structure of the song, because when I started writing it, it was kind of like a ballad, like a slow kind of song. And you can hear that at the beginning, like it's slow basically and kind of chilled out. But as I wrote the song, I ended up, it basically just kind of grew and became more heavy, you know, threw in some cool like breakdown, technical sections kind of thing. Like it ended up turning into something that I wasn't trying to do, if that makes sense. I wrote it very linearly too. So like the stuff I wrote at the beginning is the beginning of the song, and then the stuff I wrote at the end is the end of the song, basically. It's kind of like this is the start of the song and this is the end of the song. That's basically how the structure is, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know how good of a song it is. I can't really decide that for my own. But yeah, that's about it. I guess there's not that much I can talk about with the song in general. But for the next video, I think I'll delve into the drum part a bit more, go a bit more into detail with it, talk about the influences behind it specifically, stuff like that. So that'll be fun. Alright, so I think it's like day 12 of practicing, learning the part or something like that. I don't know. Today, we're going to do the first recording session. Not like actually tracking the drums for the song, but just like recording it, see how well I'm playing it basically, because when I'm playing, I can judge how good or bad I am, but when I sit down and listen to it, I can judge a lot better, and I can, you know, very clearly see, or hear, I guess, where there are inaccuracies, stuff like that. So, let's head over to Reaper. Alright, so here we are in Reaper. So, this is the project for the song, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna find the drums, the temp drums, the MIDI drums. I'm just gonna mute them. I've also muted the melody piano, which is gonna be what the voice is once I get around to recording that. And we're just going to export this whole thing. No drums, no click. And then I'm also gonna export a version with the click for syncing purposes. And then we'll drag that all into my practicing drums preset project thing, which I basically just use for recording little test things like this, basically. The settings for the plugins I have and stuff, and the levels for all this is probably not going to be great now, because since the last time I've used this, I've changed how the drum setup is a little bit, like the mic placement, the levels coming into the interface, so I might have to do some adjusting there before I get it to sound decent. Alright, so now I got both versions of the track in here. So now I just gotta go play along to the song a couple times, and we'll come here and see how it sounds. Do a little bit of rough mixing as well to see if I can approximate the sound I want from the drums. You know, we don't have to get everything perfect, but I want to make sure that I can get the kind of sound that I want, and if I can't, then I will have to make the adjustments that I need to my mic setup or to my drum tuning, whatever. But yeah, let's go. Alright, camera's rolling. And now, Reaper's rolling. Alright, so got everything recording now, so now I'm just gonna play along to the song and see how it goes. I should also get the music up. Alright, here's a funny moment for you guys. So I recorded a whole session in Reaper where I was looking at the recordings that I had just made, and I did some rough mixing, but I forgot to set the desktop recording device to the correct one that Reaper was using, so basically you can't hear anything that I'm doing, you can only hear my voice, so it's all just useless footage. But basically what I said during that whole thing is that, yeah, there's lots of moments where I can't tell when I'm playing how out of time I am, and so I need to like fix some specific moments, stuff like that. That's basically about it. Alright, so I guess that's about it for this video. I've basically learned the part. It's almost ready to be recorded, and in the part 2, I am going to keep doing those test recording things. I don't know if I'll even show you that. And then I'll basically set up the drums and all the recording stuff for the drum tracking, make sure everything's pristine, and I'll do the actual tracking of the drums, and then I'll probably include a bit of the mixing and editing as well in that video. Depends on how much time it all takes, all that stuff. You know, next video will be cool too, don't worry.